my friends. Welcome back to a milestone episode. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's probably I don't know. How do we rate milestones? I guess like 10 is kind of a big milestone, and then I guess 20 is probably the second biggest because like 5 and 15, but 25 will also be a big one. But anyway, episode 20. It's a cool milestone, and I'm happy that you're here with me through. It's let's see. The first episode was in what, September, and now it's frickin' March, the end of March already. The next episode's going to be in frickin' April. Is that crazy or what? Yeah, it's pretty crazy to me. Wow, and then after that, that'll be the last episode before LVFC, and then we'll have LVFC, and then another episode, and all this stuff. I'm excited, but yeah, thank you for being here today. I guess I guess a interesting topic to kind of kick it off is when it comes to LVFC, I guess is like something I've talked about a lot is like having things to look forward to, or like things to break up the monotony in life, right? Because life can be monotonous. You're working a full-time job. When you're a kid, I guess it's a little less monotonous, but as an adult, you do a lot of the same things. You get into a routine. You have your job presumably, and other obligations such as streaming or other things that you do, and most likely they're on a relatively routine schedule. You probably have some sense of normalcy, right? And for someone like me, I love routines, and I that's how I succeed in life a lot of the time, is just by sticking to a solid routine for my sleep and for my eating and for my stream and for work, for everything I do is very routine oriented. But even for someone like me, it's nice to get something to kind of break up the monotony. And I guess what ties into that is talking about like the idea of like seasonal depression, right? And it's like a pretty common thing. If you don't know what that is, basically the idea is in certain seasons, which I think most of the time tends to be winter, when it's like the darker months, it's cold, it's kind of gloomy, you don't necessarily want to go outside. I think a lot of people experience that, and it's a common thing that, to the point that it has a term, right? It's not just called like being sad during these months, it's called seasonal depression, like it has a real term. So I never really believed in it much, at least for me, right? Like I never really believed in it affecting me much. And I guess part of that also is like, I've always lived in places where it's relatively, it's not like as good during the winter. It's a little chilly sometimes, can be a little rainy, etc. But it's certainly not unpleasant like somewhere where it's like snowing and you're stuck indoors completely. Like I'm outside every day still, even in the quote unquote winter seasonal depression era. So I never really believed that it affected me much, but then, the past couple years around this time, I found myself feeling kind of down, or, I don't know what it is exactly, stressed or overworked, whatever it may be, overwhelmed, and kind of depressed. And like, I think for me, the real reason is because most of the time in these early months of the year, there's no holidays, right? The first holiday, like day off that I have, is in May. So from January 1st to May, I think this year it's like the 27th or something. If I had to guess, I don't know the exact day, but if I'm guessing, I'm going to say May the 27th. It's the last Monday. From January 1st to May 27th, there's 0 holidays. So that means, no breaks from work whatsoever, except, taking time off, which generally I tend to not do that in the early part of the year because I'm someone who likes to be prepared. And I always have this thought of like, well, what if like tomorrow, like my parents have an emergency or something, they need me to come down there for 2 weeks and I can't work or something, right? Like I'm thinking ahead, like I need to not use tons of time off because what if I need it later in the year, right? Which lends me to those first couple of months to have basically no breaks, just like constant, like full work weeks without even a thought of a day off. And it can be a challenge to get things done. I mean, to be honest, like my my life usually runs at a deficit in the sense that like it's not sustainable if I never ever have an extra day off because I have too much going on. So I need those extra days off, right? But the first part of the year it just tends to be not having much of that. Um, so yeah, like I guess yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like I think the reason I get that kind of seasonal depression early in the year is just because of that. So like I have a trip to my parents' house coming up, like in California, which is only one day off. But even having one singular day off, like a 3-day weekend, is the first one I will have had since like, well, actually since Christmas, really, because well, and even Christmas was only 3 days off because it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I just had the 3 days off and then back to work, and then New Year's Day I had off, but like there wasn't a three. So like this is my first 3-day weekend, literally since Christmas, and before that, I mean, I guess Thanksgiving. But yeah, like it's been a hot minute, right? So it's a nice thing. And then in for LVSC, I have like 4 days off, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Well, like 4 days plus the weekend. So like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So like 6 days off. So that is like my ultimate like lifeline at this point, right? And you know, I always use those kinds of like those monotony breaking like little time off things. Like I use them as like a lifeline. Like that's a life raft right now, right? Like there's a lot going on at work, there's a lot going on in life. Like right now it's stressful, but I have that lifeline coming up right in a few weeks. So it's like I have that like I'm reaching, I'm swimming through the ocean, and the freaking life raft is there, but I got to get to it, and I'll get to it. But it's just a little harder, I guess, when it's like January something and you're looking for your life raft and it's, you know, nowhere away. So maybe, you know, with this newfound knowledge, I can try to give myself a break better. I mean, I guess last year I had time off at like the end of February, early March, which even that is almost too much because that's still like a solid like almost 3 months without without any kind of real break. So I don't know. It's really important. I do tend to split up my time off. I like to, I guess I tough out the first couple months so that then in the next months I can have like a decent amount. Like in April I'll have like a lot, and then May I'll have a couple days because there's a holiday, and then in like June I think I'm gonna probably take a couple days off to visit my parents, and then like July is 4th of July, which is a holiday, so that's like a long weekend. Then August is kind of a dry month, but maybe I'll take some time off, and then September has a holiday here called Labor Day. October, a dry month, but where you're getting close to the holidays, so it's like kind of like you can see the lifeline in the distance, but also a decent month to take time off. I almost always take some amount of time off in October. One time I remember in 2020, I took a whole week off in October, and it was it wasn't even to do anything. Well, you know why? Because freaking COVID, everything was closed. But I had a week off in October, and you know what I did? I played video games. I was like online every day. Like I remember playing a lot of Phasmophobia with my friends. Playing Fall Guys at the time was big. Yeah, so like, wow, just having a week off to do nothing. When was the last? But besides that, I don't know if I've ever had a week off to do nothing. I mean, probably sometime in my life, but yeah, it's rare. It was kind of an interesting splurge, right? Because like I have a lot of people in my life who, and I'm not saying this is like a bad thing. Like it's great when people want you around, but like a lot of people who, I don't want to say demand my time, but like let's see, what's the word you use? They they deserve my time, and I wish to share my time with them, but they command, not, I don't know, not demand, I guess command. They command a lot of my time. So time off is usually used to see people for the most part, visit family, etc. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday I can just have another week off. But see, it's hard because I don't even, you know, I don't even know if I like having just a week off with nothing, because the thing is, right? Like like most people I know have jobs, right? So it's not like we're all staying up all night, or we're like, freaking like if I'm off a week, they have work. What if I just like did a whole thing like and we just like organized a bunch of friends just to have like a week off together? That'd be pretty funny. Although if Half-Life 3 comes out, I will take probably a couple days off to play that. It's probably like the only game in the world that could be actually um, you know, having me take time off for. I was lucky. Super Mario RPG came out on Thanksgiving week. The remake. It came out on Thanksgiving week, which is another game where I would potentially take time off for. That came out during Thanksgiving week. I already had it off, so I was all good. I didn't have to. I didn't have to worry about. I didn't have to worry about taking time off for. But yeah, I don't know. I guess just kind of thinking about that and how these first couple months have been kind of stressful, tiresome, and stuff. So looking forward to some time off to come, and just things to look forward to. A short little trip coming up, and then a nicer LVSC trip. And I mean, a trip, I say I go 25 minutes from my house, but get to hang out with cool people from the community and other cool friends I haven't seen since last year. And yeah, it should be really nice. And then, more family trips and whatnot throughout the year. And who knows what else the year might hold. You never really know, It's like a great mystery. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's going to be a goal of mine to give myself a break in the early part of the year next year. Maybe in early February, I'll try to take a little break. But see, it sucks because like I'm even thinking about that right now. I'm like that's stressful though, because then I have less time off and I have to just basically, then it's like, oh, I can't take time off in March because I'll be using too much, and then blah blah blah, and then I still have to go from February to April. It's tough, man. It really is. How come we can't just get more time off? How come we all can't have like 2 months off out of the year? And then you people in other countries that do have that are listening like what? You don't have 2 months off? That's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it though. But yeah, so I guess the other thing I've just kind of been kind of just I don't know. It's kind of hard to really express what I've been thinking about, but I don't know. It's just Jax turns 10 years old in June, and I talked about it, I think, in an episode a couple episodes ago. As I saw him slowing down, and he's still slow. Even today, I looked at my watch after our walk, which should be like a 30-minute walk, and it was a significant amount more than 30 minutes, just because he's not as fast as he once was. But it's kind of, I don't know if harrowing is the right word, but it's scary, and like for someone like, I don't know, experiencing death, right? Like, thankfully my parents are alive. All four of my grandparents are gone. So I experienced those, but it's a little different. Like, you spent a lot of time with them, but not like every day, like, and I guess for me, it was also kind of weaned down, right? As a kid, I saw him a lot more than as an adult. I saw him less and less. And then it became phone calls because they live far away. And so it was like kind of weaning your way down. But like, I see Jax for hours every day. And Jax is like my beacon of light in my darkest times. And has been in this last year that's been so challenging. So to think about, even to fathom a day where I'm not spending hours every single day with Jax is also, I mean, it's difficult, right? It really is. And to see someone, to see him pass someday is going to be, I don't know how to describe what the experience is going to be like. To be honest with you, I'm not sure it's something that like I'll be able to, how well I'll be able to handle it based on prior experiences. Again, like, even my parents, like, I love my parents, they're amazing, but I have been weaned down from seeing them every day, obviously, when I lived with them, to living apart from them but in the same city, so maybe seeing them once in a while. and then to now being long distance, it's like even very not very rarely, but not seeing them very often, and just like talking to them on the phone sometimes. Um, but yeah, like the thing is, once again, like Jax will go from I see him hours every day to nothing, and so I think that lack of like weaning yourself down from getting used to seeing them less and less. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if any of you guys have ever lost a pet that you were close with. Like, I don't know. Like, my family had a dog growing up, and I was thinking about this too. Like, my family had a dog growing up, right? And and a cat. Um, they both passed, but it didn't hit the same. I guess. Well, my cat, about half of her life was when I didn't live there. So I guess it's a little different, right? Because only even half my life was I even in the house at all. And then my dog, was from, let's see, I was 5 and I think 5 or 6, and she passed when I was, I think, 18. Yeah, I believe 18. So I was younger. I didn't spend time with her like I do Jax. I was in school, friends, a job. Was I, when I turned 16 those last couple of years. So I didn't see her like I see Jax, where Jax and I have bond, like we go on 2 walks a day, every day since we adopted him 2.5 years ago. And I would say 98% of those walks that he's been on, I've been on those walks. So like, yeah, we have been bonded, and even now it's like every single morning. It's such a routine, and I guess that's another challenge is like the breaking up routines. Like I see Jax every single day. Here's my day. I wake up, I go downstairs, I pet Jax. He doesn't like. He's not a morning person, so we don't have a long bonding session in the morning. But I see him, I pet him, and I say good morning. I make my coffee, go back upstairs. That's at like 7 for my work. And then at 9, I come down. I give him breakfast. Well, I usually like pet him a little bit, and then I say, "You ready for breakfast?" "Yes, you are." And then I give him his breakfast, and he's very excited. And he eats his breakfast, and then I give him his milk bone, and he eats that. And then I tell him he's a really good boy. Then I go back upstairs to work. And then at 11, it's lunchtime for me. Like my lunch break. So then it's walk time. So then I take him on his walk. And then, and we go on a walk for about 30 to an hour, depending. And then around 1-ish o'clock, I actually eat my lunch. And so I come back downstairs. I pet him, maybe give him a treat, make my lunch, go back upstairs. Then work ends for me usually around 3:30. So then I go back downstairs and I pet him. And, if it's a stream day, I go get ready for stream. If it's another day that I have something else, I go do that. But I always see him for a little bit. And, that's, as you can see, like 7, 9, 11, 1, 3, like that's 5 times. And that's not even counting on weekends when I'm around him more, or we go on special trips, or, like we see, and then, at night, obviously we go on our second walk. So that's like, it's a lot of times, dude. It's very routine oriented. And like, I don't know, like for me, what it's going to be like when that day comes someday when, when like, the routine is done, like it will be supremely weird when that routine is done, because it's something that I've done so consistently. And yeah, I think it's a good thing, right? I think I'm a really optimal dog owner, and I don't mean that like I'm pretty stupid when it comes to dogs. I don't actually know that much, but in the sense that I'm very routine oriented, and I think dogs like routine, right? Animals like routine because they don't really know any better. So like I'm pretty sure for animals, routine is amazing, and I'm very routine oriented. So it's not like he has to wonder when he's going to eat, or like wonder when he's going to get his walk. Like I stick to the schedule, just like I stick to my bedtime schedule. Like it's a very regiment. What is the word? I don't know. It's a very stringent regiment, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. And to be honest, like I was really crunching the numbers, and I was like after Jack's, and I don't mean to be like negative, just like thinking ahead, like, it's important to think about your future. Like, do I want to get another dog in the future or what? And it's like, I don't know, man, with the way the economy's going, with things getting more and more expensive from a financial standpoint, like I can scrape by, not scrape by, I do okay, but like I can get by with Jack's, but like post Jack's, like who knows what costs are going to be for everything. And it's like, well, maybe I'll just go and volunteer at the animal shelter, or maybe I'll try to foster dogs on occasion. I don't know. I've just been kind of thinking about that a lot, just because for me, it's all about like, I want to make a difference, right? I like the companionship of having a dog here because, other than that, I mean, most days I'd be alone. I live alone, and, um, I have like obviously like all day I'm at work, I'm talking to people at work, I can talk to friends. Like, it's not a big deal in that sense, but like, just it's nice to have a dog here. Like, I would be way, way, way more lonely and not so, Jax has been a good source of comfort for me. So I don't know. And for me, it's like a source of comfort knowing that who knows what his life would have been, because, for those of you who don't know the story of Jax, like he spent 2 years in the shelter. He was almost 7.5 when we adopted him, and he went in when he was, I think, just over 5-ish or somewhere around there. So he was at the shelter for like 2 years, dude. And like, that's crazy. Like, that's such a huge fraction of his life. That's like a human going away to jail for like 15 years or something. Like, that's a crazy amount of his life, maybe even more than that, And like, I just think about what could have been otherwise. And like, Jax was he was such a battered dog when we adopted him. And just like, I remember how scared he was, like being touched at all was like a scary thing. He would flinch and all this stuff. And like, he's come a long way. And like, yeah, I guess just thinking about what his life would have been, had we not adopted him, it comforts me as well. So I don't know. I guess for me, it's a double, not a double-edged sword. It's like a double win. I don't know what the right term is, but like, it's a double win. Like, I can make a positive impact for the animal, right? And that's why I would want to do maybe like fostering or volunteering. Because yeah, it's like I get company here and they get a better life. And I guess I get comfort from the fact that they have a better life as well. Like, I get comfort knowing Jax is safe. And it's kind of weird, right? Like, I don't think I'll ever have kids. Most likely, you never know. I do have, 3, almost 4, soon to be 4 nieces and nephews from Toshabi's family, which are, they're my family. And yeah, so I have my nieces and nephews. I love them a lot. They're great. But I guess just like even more so, I feel like such a level of responsibility for Jax in terms of like, I don't know. Like, I know like my mom says this all the time, and maybe it's like the boomer thing. Like, it's not anywhere near the same thing. If you have a kid, you'd understand. But like, it's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same kind of feeling of like, just like thinking of anything bad ever happening to Jax is like very traumatizing to me, right? Like, I want to protect him from everything. Like, thinking of any bad thing ever happening to him, even just like seeing him sometimes, like, it's really sad, like how much it fucks me up when, like, just today he was kind of having like I would say a bad health day. He was very he's getting older, and you can tell some days he's not feeling great. He's a little slow, little sluggish, like a little, you can tell he's kind of not limping per se, but you know what I mean? Like, he's moving slow, right? You know those days? I mean, we probably have them as humans too, where we're just moving a little bit slower than we usually do. And like, it really messes me up. I remember even like a few months back, he had one of those when I was going to be leaving to go to a concert. And I was just like, I don't know, should I just like not go? Like, I feel scared, like leaving him like this, but I mean, he's fine. But it's just like, yeah, the thought of anything bad happening to him is very, very, very scary. And I mean, unfortunately, quote unquote, a bad thing happening is inevitable at some point. But I hope he can just continue to enjoy his life for however many years. And I don't want to be pessimistic. Maybe I hope he has a lot of years left, but I don't know. It's all new to me, right? Because I've never had a dog. I've never had a pet like that, so I don't really know what what the normal signs of aging are. And the vet's happy with him. The vet thinks he's in good health, but he's also older. I mean, that's what it is, and I think he's comfortable. But it's still, I don't know. It's just it's scary. It really is, and I guess that's really about all I can do is just kind of do my best for him, and I do. I don't hide the fact that I really don't know a lot about dogs. I really don't, but all you can do is your best, right? And I think just the effort alone is more than even, you can be knowledgeable about dogs, but if you're don't give a damn, it's like I could be really smart about my job, but if I don't ever try, then like it's not going to be good, like like I don't know. I guess it's like anything in life, right? Like, oh, I'm really good at streaming, but I stopped caring about it, so I just, put on streams where I just talk monotonely into the mic and don't do anything, you know what I mean? Like anything in life. So putting effort, I think, is just really the main thing. And I try to tell myself that because it's easy to not know. I mean, it was for a while it was like a duo pronged effort on Jackson. Both of us kind of didn't really know what we were doing, but we had two people, you know what I mean? Two brains are better than one. And now it's just me, just my brain alone. So I'm doing my best for him, and I think he's happy. But I think it's just natural, I guess, to worry, and I worry about if he's happy and things like that. So yeah, I don't know if anyone else can relate. I think it's definitely different. At least for me, it's a million times different than having any pet, like with my parents, because I think at the end of the day, it kind of falls to your parents, even though, like, technically the cat was kind of my cat, sort of. Like, I was the one pushing for it, but in the end, the responsibility really fell to my dad, and I loved her, and she passed away in early 2024. But it wasn't anything like this. It was like I can't even imagine what a small fraction of what I'm gonna feel when Jax passes someday, which is kind of pessimistic. I don't know why I think about that. It's kind of I think it's like a flaw of mine. It's also like a benefit, but it's also a flaw. Like, I can talk about negative things. Like, I remember I would always not upset, but I remember like a lot of the time I would like just be realistic. Like, as my grandma was even aging, she passed away in her mid 90s, and as she was aging, I would like talk about like to Toshabi, just like not like in a bad way, just like so here's like what life's gonna be different when grandma passed. Like, I don't know how to explain it really, because it might sound like I'm being insensitive, and I guess in a way I kind of am a little bit, but like I'm able to put aside my emotion. Like, I felt a great amount of emotion when my grandma passed, right? And when Jax passes, the same thing. But I guess I'm able to put aside the emotion and think like rationally on things. Like I'm even thinking now, like someday you have to account for those kind of things, and it's easy to stuff your head in the sand and say like, I'm not going to think about when they pass, but like that's an inevitability of life. So you have to kind of plan to some extent. And sure, there's probably a time when it's too early. Like when I was like 5 years old and my grandma was, like, I don't know, whatever, 70, probably would have been a little early to start thinking about that, right? And like when Jax was like 7, when we just adopted him, pretty early to start thinking about like when he passed, right? But like eventually you reach a point where it's rational to start considering, or like thinking, or like, I don't know, just you have to be able to imagine what the next steps are after that happens so that you're prepared to mentally prepare yourself, emotionally prepare yourself, and strategically prepare yourself, because an action like that has an effect on your life, you know what I mean? And so it's important to be able to, like, my parents are, my dad is in his late 60s, my mom is in her early 70s, and I haven't truly started thinking about that yet, but like their health is kind of iffy, and it's almost to the point where I have to start thinking about that at some point. I haven't really thought about it much, but there will come a point where I have to think about that too, and it's very unpleasant. shit, someday I'll have to freaking start thinking about, well, I mean, I guess, I don't have to think about what people will do after me, but like, I know for me, there's going to be a day when, I mean, I pray there's a day where I'm like getting older and I don't just drop dead at some point sooner than that, but like, where I'm getting older and I need to get my affairs in order and like strategically plan. And I bet I'm going to be talking to someone younger, whoever that may be in my life, because I don't know where my life is going to be at that point, who's going to be in my life. But like, let's just say I'm like talking to let's say my nephew or something. And I know I'm going to just be like openly talking about like, hey, I'm going to probably die in a couple years. So we should strategically plan, what's going to happen with this and blah, blah, blah. And they're probably going to be like, no, don't talk about that. And it's like, unfortunately, we have to, it's like it's an inevitability of life. And you have to be prepared for when those kind of things happen. At least I feel like I do. And I think it's a negative in a way because it does come off as though I'm a little emotionally like unavailable or like but I like to I'm a very emotional guy actually, and I think it's just maybe a skill that I can separate. I think it's going to be key because my brother is very emotional. I think when my parents pass away, my brother is going to be a mess. And I think it's going to be up to me to hold down the fort and kind of do things because I'm a good rational thinker, even in times of grief. Like last year, with my divorce and everything else that went into that, like I experienced a lot of grief, unimaginable amount of grief. But I was able to, and I still am, and I've always been good at that. Is like separating that emotion from. There's things you have to get done. There's things that need to be handled. There's things you need to deal with, and so kind of dealing with those things. So it's a strength, and it even feels kind of bad just because it's different than other people. I think most people probably, when they have that kind of trauma, they're not very good at functioning at all. But I've always been a high functioner, no matter what. Even in times of grief, and I'm able to think rationally and strategize and plan and stuff. So for better or for worse, I guess I don't know. Is it a skill? Is it a bad thing? Nobody knows, but I can do it. And that's something that I can do. So hooray for me or boo for me, depending on your perspective, I guess. Okay. So we're going to jump into some questions. And the first one we have is from the Otterly. That's what it says, guys. I'm just reading. I'm just the messenger of the messages. Whoa, that's a crazy title. But anyway, the question says, your YouTube series has been made up mostly of RPG Maker games. I know it's only been 2 games, but how have you liked the engine so far? I know you mentioned possibly using it yourself. So, I mean, I think I've probably played a lot of RPG Maker games. I mean, I think. So I guess I would say it's not necessarily just that I just started like trying it out now for the YouTube series, even though like the two of the main games that I've been wanting to play being One Shot and Omori. I think that was either maybe just coincidence or that Otterly has very similar game taste to the Lord Millinor, who recommended me to play both of those games years ago. But no, I mean, I think I don't think. I mean, I really enjoyed both those games, and so yeah, I guess I would say I like the engine a lot, and yeah, like as far as using it myself, I guess it's kind of. So when I first started, when back in my day, RPG Maker was like a funny PlayStation 1 game, and so that was like the first experience I had with RPG Maker was like my little friends and I, as wee lads, on our PlayStation 1 with this crazy game called RPG Maker, where you could actually make a freaking game. Isn't that crazy? That's like the craziest thing that ever existed, though. For real, though, like it really was to us. Like, how is that even like a possible thing? Like that makes no sense. You can make video games. Like what? So that was my first experience, and it was fun. I've talked about that. We kind of my best friend at the time when I was a little kid. He worked at, I don't know where he works now, but he worked at Sony at some point, and I think he was doing like kind of game dev stuff. So yeah, good for him. But yeah, he was kind of the backing force. Like I think I have um a decent mind for creative things sometimes. But maybe not the execution that he did. So yeah, he was kind of the driving force, but I had my input as well. So yeah, we started off with that, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed getting to try quote unquote making an RPG using RPG Maker, and again, the very first one, I still own it on the PlayStation 1. Um, it was I'm sure it's quite different from the RPG Maker that you hip kids use these days, and ones that made stuff like Omori and One Shot and all those other cool video games. So yeah, I would say a positive experience. I mean, yeah, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've enjoyed the RPG Maker games that I've played. Which again, I'm sure there's a lot more than just those two that we had the YouTube series with, but for simplicity's sake, yeah, those two pretty dang freaking good games. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty dang good games. So, yeah, I'm excited to get to try more. I know, in particular, there was more RPG Maker games that were recommended to me, so I'm hopeful that I will get to try those soon, and I'm sure I will enjoy them because yeah, I mean I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to games. Like I'm not a harsh critic. It's never been my my strong suit being a critic, which can either be seen as good or bad because sometimes it can be a little awkward in my experience. Like I'm not very good at being critical of video games. So yeah, or movies or any media really. So if something is bad, I don't always know how to express that too well. So definitely IGN, do not hire me. Uh or anyone that reviews games, do not hire me because I will be very bad at it. But yeah, I guess yeah, I've been really enjoying them, and so I want to continue to try more. And yeah, so my I guess I don't really know how to rate it other than yeah, I mean, obviously like, I think it's pretty clear how much I love Omori. Well, at least Omori I think I gushed about enough. And for those of you who haven't watched my one shot series yet, I've also been loving that. So I'd say my experience so far on RPG Maker, frickin' positive. And I have to anticipate that will probably continue based on my really good experiences so far. Not that there's can't be obviously bad ones, but I'm hopeful that I'll get to experience a lot more really, really, really cool ones. And I guess that's kind of the beauty of it, is that it feels like it's a something that, like, if you have a good creative mind, you can kind of get started with it. It's not like super ultra complex, like some game engines. Like, I'm sure I could make a RPG, like if I wanted to make the Raichu community RPG, like I intend to. I'm sure probably many or most game engines would be, if not impossible, pretty dang difficult for me. And I like the fact that presumably RPG Maker is friendly to people who maybe have ideas. They're not, I'm not a game dev by any means, right? But like, you got ideas, you can make something. And I think that's really cool because yeah, it's interesting, like most forms of media, right? Like art, for example, like you want to draw. I mean, it's not like you might have a great idea, like, hey, I think this art would be really cool. But like, if you can't draw, you can't express it truly. You know what I mean? Like, period, unfortunately. Whereas something like with a game, it seems like RPG Maker is simpler than a lot of like games making software. but it's not in a bad way where like, oh, you can't do anything because of that. Like, no, you can still do a lot. As you saw, like Omori is as good of a game as any game I've ever played in my life, and I've played a lot of freaking games. So I don't say that lightly, right? Like Omori is literally as good of a game as any game I've ever played in my life, and so there's I'm sure there's some limitations on what you can do in RPG Maker, but clearly these games, like it's not a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Like, sure, maybe you can't do quite as much, but you know what? If you're like dedicated to what you want to do, clearly you can make, again, I'll say it for the third time because it's worth saying, as good of a video game as I have ever played in my life. And again, for the 18th time, I played a lot of freaking video games, so I don't say that lightly. So yeah, RPG Maker, stand-up engine, and I like that it's accessible to someone like me. So maybe even me, little Raichu, could make a video game someday, which would be cool. Okay, so let's read the next question from Cosmic, the Coyote one, or Cosmos. You guys probably know him as Cosmos Coyote in my chat. One of the original Raichu stream viewers and friend of mine for what, 10 years now or so, probably. Anyway, it says, "Hey there, the Raichu. Curious what your thoughts would be on this. Lately, I found myself as indispensable at my job, but that hasn't really been all that good a thing for me. Between the technical knowledge I've accumulated and the niche but critically necessary skill set I've acquired, I've become that go-to guy for a lot of problems. But that also means that there are those busy, hectic times when I just get completely flooded, leading me to be burnt out and miserable. It's not all the time by any stretch, but the worst of it gets pretty rough. The thing is, though, I actually like most of the people I work with, and I worry if I try and find somewhere where the grass looks greener, not only am I screwing over people I like and respect, I have no guarantees the environment will be as good and welcoming elsewhere, but maybe I'm just Stockholm syndroming my current job. What's the best way to approach this?" Okay, so I can definitely attest. I can relate to this on a certain level because I've been with my company now for, 12 plus years. So I can certainly attest to feeling like you just know everything, and like it's you know everything, and so like everyone wants to go to you because you know everything. And I don't, I kind of agree with you. It's not really necessarily a bad thing most of the time. Like it's nice to be, um, I don't know if counted on is the right word, but respected. Like it's a good thing. There's nothing bad about, at least from like a base perspective. Like it's good to be. It feels good to be respected and kind of like looked up to, and you know what I mean. Like, you are the source of like knowledge, and so that feels cool, right? So. I guess from my base perspective, again, I can relate. So cool. Um, so what I would personally do if I felt like that would be to have a talk with my boss, which I know is kind of, cliche, but assuming you have a good relationship with your boss, which if you don't, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that um, you talk about how you like everyone there and stuff. So I mean, it feels like hopefully you like your boss, and hopefully you can have that conversation with your boss. That's where I would start. I would have that conversation with my boss, and phrase it in the way you just phrased it to me, because like you want to help people, understandably. It's good to help people. I want to help people too. People reach out to me about a lot of stuff too, and it can get overwhelming, like things that I don't even handle anymore or haven't handled for years. Like people reach out to me and they just say like straight up, they're like, "Hey, I know you don't handle this, but like I like dealing with you more than this other person that I know handles this. So like, can we work on it together instead?" And it's like, I mean, your instinct obviously is like, no, I have my own responsibilities, but like, also, yes, that's like means a lot that you like me. Like we all want to be liked at the end of the day. So I totally understand the desire um, to, you know, want to help everyone, and I would just I honest to God, I would just have a straight up conversation with my boss and say, hey, like here's where I'm at. A lot of people lean on me, and like I don't want to turn them away. I feel like I have a ton of knowledge, and I am happy to be able to share that. Here's probably like not maybe not word for word, but close to what I would say, or at least like the important points, right? Hey, like I understand that like basically I have a lot of knowledge, and I'm happy that I have that knowledge that I've built up working here over X amount of time. And a lot of people kind of seem like they lean on me. You can give examples. Like I even had, I would use the example that I just used. Like, this person straight up said they don't like working with this other person. They prefer to work with me, right? But you can use, whatever examples you have in yours. So like, yeah, this person said like they wanted to reach out to me because they knew I would know the answer or whatever, whatever it may be. But like, yeah, so I would just give them examples and say, so I've been feeling overwhelmed because obviously I have X, Y, and Z other responsibilities as well, and I don't want to turn people away. And I feel like me having this knowledge is very useful, and like I don't want this knowledge to go to waste, obviously, because it is super useful. But I'm not sure if I can keep on, you know, producing at this level, or I don't know how you want to word this, but like I don't know if I can keep being helpful at this level. I don't know what the right verbiage is in this case, but like you can't keep up what you're doing because you're burning out. So like, yeah, I don't know if I can keep up this level of collaboration, maybe is the right way to phrase it. I don't know if I can keep up this level of collaboration without burning out, or I'm already burning, however you want to phrase it again. But like, yeah, I'm already feel like I'm burning out, and I, you know, depending again on your relationship with them, you can be like straight up, like for me, my boss is like one of like I've worked with him for many years. He's literally like my friend and like one of my besties, and I know I could be like very honest with him about if I was feeling something like this. Obviously, to handle your situation depending on your relationship with your boss, but like I would straight up be like, dude, like I honestly I've even looked at other job opportunities because I'm so burnt out, and I don't, like I'm not sure how comfortable I am just straight up telling these people like I can't help you because I know I have this knowledge, and like your boss should be aware you have this knowledge and like the value you provide with that knowledge. But I don't know what the option is. Like, is there like other responsibilities maybe that could be taken off your plate? And I'm not saying like you say this to your boss. I'm actually just saying this like me to you. But like I don't know if there's other responsibilities that could come off your plate. Maybe that's an option. When you have this talk with your boss, but see what your boss thinks would be the best option. Maybe your boss can put something out where like, hey guys, I need you to go to the right people, like as a reminder, like the right people for X thing are these people. Like we sometimes have those bulletins go out, which I presume is from a similar, maybe certain people are getting bogged down. I assume it might be a similar thing because we'll get like memos like, hey, remember for this thing, you need to go to this person or something like that. So yeah, I think I think that's the best way to approach it, is just be like straight up honest. Hey, like, what do you think I should do? Because I am burning out and I can't keep up like this. I don't want to just straight up, shut people out because I understand that I have knowledge and I want to help them. But I don't think I can keep this up. So what is the best way for us to handle this? Is there something like, and give them, I don't know your work situation, so I can't really say, but like give them maybe options like that you think might work. Like, hey, like, do you think like maybe this other, client or this other project I was working on, maybe we could take that off my plate and I can focus on being a source of information. You know what I mean? Like whatever the options may be, but like come to bat with some options, I would say. And hey, here's the ideas I have, but I just wanted to talk to you because you're my boss, you're my friend, friend if they are, or whatever it may be, and just be like, yeah, like I just felt like I needed to talk to you because I'm burning out really quickly here, and I like my job here. I like working here, and I don't want to get burned out to the point where like I want to leave because I want to be here. Um, and so let's figure something out. And again, this is all assuming that you have a good relationship with your boss. Maybe you don't. I hope you do. But it, that assuming you have a good relationship with your boss should be on board to find a solution to this problem, because it sounds like a very solvable problem in my estimation. If I was your boss, I would say, okay, well, that's easy enough. Like we'll figure something out. Either we'll take something off your plate and give it to someone else, since clearly you add value. Like I had stuff taken off my plate to take on another kind of similarly kind of projecty type thing. I don't know if project's the right word because it's kind of just being helpful, but like I know you have knowledge in this area, so I'm going to take this off your plate so that you can have bandwidth to handle this and not be overwhelmed. So that literal thing happened to me. Um, and so I'm hopeful that for you, that would make sense, and that your boss could see the value in working with you here and figuring out a solution where you don't have to burn out, because a good boss should be like their ultimate goal is they don't want their employees burnt out. My boss talks about that a lot, ensuring that we're not burnt out. And assuming that your boss feels the same, I see no reason why it wouldn't be a slam dunk type situation where it would be very easy for them to say, okay, well, let's figure this out. And maybe they say straight up, like, sorry, like I know you want to help these people, but you need to focus on these other responsibilities. But they need to have like an option to help. So that might be, sorry, I need you to work on these other projects. I can't have you being the research, like the focal point for all these people. So I'm going to send out an email to like the big boss, whoever it may be. I'm going to send out an email, and I'm going to remind everyone that they need to reach out to specific people for these specific things, because people, and they won't name you by name, obviously, but like, hey, people that it's not their responsibility to handle these things are being reached out to. And I need, these people focused on these things, whatever it may be. But if they're a good boss, and I don't know if they are, but I hope your boss is a good boss, then they'll figure out a way to phrase that in a way that that they can help. So either take something off your plate, or work with you to cease these as many requests, or I know it's not easy because you want to help. I would want to help as well, but having that honest talk lets them be aware. Like they might not even know that everyone goes to you, like the real actual vast amount of knowledge you have, or that everyone bothers you about this stuff. Like my boss wouldn't know unless I told him. So I think it's very important that you have that upfront conversation. Now, I guess the other option is if you don't have a relationship with them, that's a challenge, right? I've been pretty lucky in my life. I've had, let's see, how many bosses have I had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, or so. And I think any one of them, at least 5 out of the 6 minimum, would be extraordinarily open to having a conversation like this with me, and would see my value and would work with me, and we'd find out a solution for this, like 100% guarantee. So again, I don't know what your boss situation's like. If you tell me your boss situation is bad, maybe the play then is just to straight up kind of I don't know, let them down easy, like you would let someone down easy that like maybe someone, and this is like a way different analogy, but maybe someone is, messaging you a lot and you just like don't have time to reply, and you're feeling a little pressured to reply or something, like from a social perspective, and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I just don't have the bandwidth to like talk to you because I have all these other life responsibilities. I mean, yeah, it may end up coming to that same thing where it's like sometimes you have to turn people down if you're feeling overwhelmed. You might have to just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I have a lot of stuff I'm working on right now, and like I really can't help you. But here's some other resource that they need to utilize, and just say like, I know it's hard. It can be really hard. I've had to do that sometimes too, where I just like, I don't have the bandwidth to help you right now. I'm sorry. Like I have a lot going on. I would like to help you, but like in the meantime, here's this other resource and I'd suggest utilizing that because I don't know when I'll be available because I have a lot going on. And I think that is reasonable and I think no one should, be angry at you for that because, we're all people and especially if you like them, I'm assuming they're pretty reasonable people. Um and so therefore I would think they would be amenable to that and you would make it work. So I guess that's the worst case, right? Like that you don't have a relationship with your boss. So you just have to straight up, talk to those people. But uh, kind of is what it is, right? Like you might have to. So I would say, yeah, I think I hope that all makes sense. And yeah, basically talk to your boss first. That's the first step. And if for some reason that is not a viable option, which if so, I'm really sorry because having a good boss really makes a big difference. So if that's not a viable option, you might just have to be kind of the bad guy. And you're not really a bad guy, but you're just kind of standing up for yourself. And it can be hard. Trust me. Like somebody, not even just in my job, even on a personal level, sometimes I have to tell people like, I'm sorry, like I don't have time to have an hour conversation right now. I'm just overwhelmed. I have so much going on in my life. And like you, for example, like you want to tell me about your problems. Like I don't have the mental capacity to handle this right now. I have so much going on and I'm sorry, but like that's just how it is. And then I would hope that it would be a similar thing, having that upfront conversation like, hey, I really, really, really want like I want to help you. And but I don't I have a lot going on and so I can't right now, but I am still going to help you by giving you like, hey, here's who you should probably reach out to. They'll be able to help you. They have more bandwidth than me because I have these other projects, and so here you go. And then that should be helpful for them, and then everyone should be happy. And hooray! So yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the first step, boss. If not boss, then talk to the people directly, and you can even phrase it like you can even do a combination of the two. Like, hey, boss, like do you think I should like do you want me like I have all this knowledge. Do you want me to try to share my knowledge or would you rather me just kind of from a black and white perspective like just tell people that I don't have the bandwidth or should do you want me to find a way for me to help them because I do have this knowledge, maybe better knowledge on this, subject than other people on our team. So like do you want me to try to share that with people? Would you rather me push them, like just follow protocol straight up and push them to where they need to go? Like, what is the best option for us here? Because I'm feeling burnt out. I want to help, but I'm also feeling burnt out. And again, I think if I was your boss and you told me that, I would be first off like proud that like you have so much knowledge and like you want to be helpful. Like helpful is like the best thing you can be. Like in a person, it's probably like one of the most desirable people traits. So like I would be very proud. But and I don't know. Obviously, I'm not your boss. If I was, I would find a solution with you though, because yeah, it's great that you have this knowledge, but maybe I need you on other things. Maybe I do. Or maybe you know what? Your knowledge is too valuable and I need you to be able to share that knowledge. So maybe I can pass off something else that maybe is not as knowledge intensive or that like, someone else could also pick up maybe like that doesn't have your experience in this other area. Maybe they could help in that area. You know what? We'd find a solution together. And I hope that you'll be able to find one with your boss. If not, then you might just have to kind of go the bad cop route and say, I'm sorry. It sucks to do again. I know I've already said that like 5 times. It sucks to have to do it, but you might have to say, I'm sorry. I just don't have the bandwidth mentally, emotionally, workload wise, in any which way. It's going to be hard for me to help you. I'm sorry. And hopefully they don't understand that because, it's not like it's coming from a place of malice. You want to help, and like I said, that's a really powerful trait. And wanting to be helpful is just it's a great thing. Um, so I would say, yeah, like I just really hope that your boss is good is willing to communicate with you because they like they have a good opportunity here to like this is peak managering, right? Like depending on their kind of reaction to this or like the way they handle this situation is like such a good opportunity to show if they're a good manager or not. You know what I mean? Like this is such like a quintessential manager situation. You have an amazing employee who's getting burned out again. That should be your number one target is for your employees to not be burned out. You have a really valuable employee who has a lot of knowledge. Their problem is that they're so freaking good that everyone wants to absorb their knowledge. And trust me, I have people on my team like that. And like I can easily pinpoint the people that probably get bombarded with too much crap. So it's like I totally get that, and it's like it sucks. First off, it sucks that someone has to get burnt out for being so freaking awesome that they're just so helpful and cool. Um, but like realistically speaking, they get to step. They need to step up and they need to figure it out. What I would probably say, if I was your boss, would be let's move some of your other stuff over a little bit because like I said, just in my own experience, I had something where it's like, oh, you're knowledgeable in these areas. Oh, I want to keep you open for those kind of questions that you get. And it really is about like I don't know. A good manager also doesn't have. And my again, I'm fortunate. My my managers have never like believed in the whole like you got to have 40 hours of work every week or else like it's not good. They are more on the like idea that let's keep you a little bandwidth because these questions will come up and we'll need your input and your expertise and your help and we'll have questions for you in these areas. So we don't want to have you at max capacity all the time or you will never have time to help us with these things without burning out. And so we're going to leave you that capacity. And some weeks I don't get as many questions about this and some weeks I get more and that pushes me to my capacity. I wouldn't say over. I'm really not burnt out from my work ever. And then sometimes there's not a lot of questions. It's like, hey, cool. It's kind of like a recharge week at work. Like I'm not getting burnt out at all. Like I'm under my, hours. Like I'm kind of almost, I don't want to say chilling, but like I'm a little more relaxed than I would be on a normal week. So, hey, that's freaking awesome. So yeah, I guess that's about it. I mean, I think I've talked about the situation as much as I can. And yeah, I hope that your boss will be understanding and will work with you because that's a good problem to have. Or I mean, I don't know, being so knowledgeable and useful, I think that's a good problem to have. Let me look at your question one more time just to make sure I didn't miss anything about it. Technical knowledge and niche skill set. Yep, a lot of problems. They're busy at times. Yep. Is actually yeah. Yeah, so I guess I wouldn't go looking for another job unless your boss completely shuts you down and says, "Well, suck it up and deal with all of it." And like I don't really see a way that leaving is the optimal option. It's like step 1, talk to your boss. Your boss should, unless they really suck, should work with you and you should be able to come up with a solution. Or let's just say your boss says, "No, I don't want to deal with this. Like whatever, you good luck. Like just do your thing, whatever. Deal with it yourself." Okay. Well, then you should have a pretty easy conversation, like I said, where you if someone comes to you for something that's not necessarily your area that or even if it is like, "Hey, I'm sorry, like I have these other responsibilities and I'm just getting slammed this week. Like I can't help you with this right now. I'm really sorry, but there's these other resources," and then you list the resources and then they go to those people instead because it's not your fault you're slammed, but you're slammed. You can't help them right now. That's how it be. So that's my thought. I definitely don't think like there's any world where like quitting would be on the top of my brain for this situation. It seems very easily dealt with. Whether that be your boss helps you make a solution or your boss says screw off. And I mean, in that case, they're a jerk. Maybe I would be going to look for another job, but realistically, maybe they'll say, "You know what? I need you to just try to kind of deal with it." and in which case you'll say, okay. And then you will go and you'll talk to people. You'll do what you need to do. You'll figure it out. And you'll get yourself a break because you deserve a freaking break. You shouldn't be burnt out. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to some extent. I'd like to hear what your kind of next steps are, or like what comes of that. So yeah, if you feel like sharing in the future an update, I would love to hear. So yeah, thank you for the question, Cosmic. That was a very, very interesting question, very interesting scenario, and something that I've kind of dealt with. So I enjoyed hearing it. So yeah, thank you very much. So it's been a bit of a heavy episode, but I think we're gonna keep it kind of heavy-ish as we kind of round out the last half hour of the episode. So I was just gonna kind of talk about my trip was this past week to go see my family, and I had a really 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 bad airport experience. The first time I've ever been on a flight that got canceled. So yeah, basically, I don't know, a couple people know what happened, but essentially, yeah. So I showed up at the airport at about 4:30. Well, actually, a little bit before that, but my flight was supposed to leave at 7-ish, shortly after 7. So it was a fine time, and I intentionally got there early because I was going to go to the Capital One Lounge, have some drinks, have some food, and have a nice time before. So I got there nice and early, and my flight got delayed a little bit at the start. I think it was about to 8 o'clock ish or so, instead of 7, whatever. So it was a little delay, but not too bad. So I just hung out at the lounge more, and so long story short, then I left the lounge, and then it was supposed to be time for the flight, and then I got to the gate, and then it was like instead of leaving at 8, now it was going to be like 9. And so then I waited some more, and then it like 9-ish, well, like a little before that, then it got delayed again, and this time it was delayed until like 11-ish. So it was like it jumped up big time, like a 2-hour more delay or something crazy, which was absolutely insane. And not ideal since my parents are old and they're going to come pick me up. So they didn't want to be up that late, but, so it got delayed more. And so I went back to the lounge and, was going to chill more, and I chilled more, had some more drinks. So, yeah, I guess it's relevant. By this point, I've had a decent amount of drinks. And so eventually it was like close to 11. So then I went back to the gate. And then essentially, a little bit later, I don't remember if there's another delay after that, like another short delay. But essentially it was like, all right, well, sorry, y'all, the flight's canceled. Yeehaw. So good luck. And so then we waited in line, like everyone got in line because you have to talk to the person about like rescheduling or if you want to cancel and get your money back or what you want to do. And so it's really not there's really no, I mean, I guess you could say sucks to be me and not get anything back for your flight, but I mean, realistically, you're kind of forced to wait in the line regardless, and it is slow. It is a slow moving line. So yeah, anyway, finally, like I got to the front and the guy helped me, but like the next flight, was only gonna be gone. It was like a 2-day trip, dude. Like I was gonna be there for 48 hours ish, like just a little tiny break. And like they were trying to get me a flight that was like 2 days later, and I'm like, I can't do that. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, I canceled the flight and was just gonna drive, but like now it was like past 1 a.m. I was really tired. I was up at like 6:30 for work, so like I've been awake a long freaking time now, and like I can't really drive at this point because I've had drinks because I wasn't gonna be driving. Like, why would I not have some free drinks? Because there's no reason. I'm going to be in an airplane. That's fine. So yeah, it really screwed me up. And so anyway, I ended up like waiting to sober up and then going home and then sleeping for like a couple hours and then driving to my parents because it was my dad's birthday. And I wanted to make sure I made the dinner because I knew it was important for him. And so yeah, I barely made it to dinner in time. And The whole experience was horrible. Like I didn't get any sleep. Like I had to drive, which is effort for me. Like my relaxing vacation, something that I've been looking forward to. We talked about having those things to. I think it must have been this episode, even earlier this episode that I talked about. Uh, having things to look forward to and like ways to recharge. Well, I regret to say that unfortunately that relaxing vacation I had in my mind was not relaxing, because instead of like 2 days of relaxing and like 2 days of slight air travel, which is like an hour, which is not like it's easy. I'm just chilling. I'm just literally sitting there and stuff. Instead, it turned into like 1 day of a billion hours at the airport, 2 days of driving, and 1 day of relaxing. But also, that 1 day is now like trying to fit more activities into than previously planned, because it's only 1 day. So yeah, basically the whole relaxing trip was out the window. It was nice. It was still fun. Always good to see family and stuff, but it was not relaxing. So I really needed a do over. But I don't know. I guess like it just had me kind of thinking. Like I remember like I was in line, and some people get very upset over the situation, which I can't really justify anyone for getting angry over a shitty situation, because I mean it really, we did get strung along. It was kind of crappy. Um, but like obviously the front desk employee has nothing to do with that. And so I don't know. I guess it kind of just reminded me the importance of just kind of like staying calm, and not even just because it's not their fault, but in general. Like I've really, like, I grew up in a household, right, where my parents are yellers. My parents love yelling. Even my brother loves yelling. Like everyone loves yelling. I'm not a yeller. I don't get angry. It's very rare that I raise my voice. I mean, except like maybe for like a, like a Raichu being a loud ass on stream or something. But like, as far as like getting angry loud, I don't do that. Um, I don't like that. It doesn't help me. There's no benefit in it. It just raises your blood pressure. I tell that to my mom too, because she's not in good health, and she's yelling at like Fox News on the TV and stuff, and I'm like, you're just raising your blood pressure. That's not a very good idea, like it's not very good for your health. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like getting angry, and even like this weekend, like e- everyone expected me to be mad. Like my family's like wanting me to be mad and all this stuff, and I don't know. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of the time the older generation, like, they feel like if you're not mad, it's like a sign of weakness. I think it's because like, well, I don't even want to generalize the older generation, but I'll say a particular part of the older generation who supports a particular political party and or watches a particular news station a lot, where being angry and mad and hateful toward people is considered manly. That kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of silly to me, but yeah, it's something I've experienced a lot. And like my mom even has like called me out, like in not so many words, said I'm like a bitch for not getting mad, like even during other things that have happened in my life that have been bad or like inconvenient or whatever it may be. Like, but I don't really agree with that. I just think it's very futile. Like there's no benefit in me raising my voice or screaming or calling someone hurtful names or something, and they think there is, which is very honestly sad. But there's it doesn't help me at all. It doesn't make me feel better. Some people, I think maybe it does help some people, and maybe that's where the disconnect is, right? Maybe for some people it actually is helpful for them to get angry, or like quote unquote, I know like the term letting off some steam, but I like yelling or anything like that doesn't help me feel better. So that's why I don't do it. Maybe for some people it does help. So I guess that's a interesting disconnect. Maybe I just don't understand because it doesn't benefit me, but I don't get any value out of it. So like I was very calm. I was calm with the front desk person. I was calm. And I was very upset in the moment. And like I said, I've been looking forward to this vacation for a while to actually relax. And my entire, basically all my plans were crushed. And I mean, I would have been justified to be upset or get mad or something, but like it's not. It's just I don't know. It's not helpful. And I found that like I said, for all aspects of life, all kinds of bad things that happen to me, I don't get any value from raising my voice or being outwardly angry. It's okay to be upset, but for me, I don't get any value in that. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. And I think a lot of people strive, and maybe it doesn't help people feel better, but they're just maybe the people that like my parents and stuff, like saying like pushing that. Maybe they are just upset that they can't manage their anger better, and so they just phrase it as like, oh well, you're a bitch because you can't do it, but really it's just them feeling inadequate because they can't control it. I don't know, just kind of having thoughts. Yeah, that's an interesting thought, I guess. So maybe that's what it is, a little bit of feeling um kind of upset that they can't control that, because yeah, I don't know, it doesn't seem very beneficial. So I think, yeah, like I was saying, I think a lot of people have that goal of like to be more zen, but maybe it's a challenge. But I encourage you to try if it's something you want to, and I think again, it's probably something that most people want. Uh, Getting angry really doesn't help you. Try to just kind of be zen, be calm, and make the best of the situation. I think that's like the key, right? It's like mitigating the damage. Like it was a really bad situation, but I mitigated the problem. Getting angry would not have helped at all. Like there would have been no benefit. It just would have made me make more mistakes. Like maybe I get in a freaking car accident because I'm like freaking out in anger, or like I yell at my parents or something, or I yell at the front desk clerk who doesn't deserve that, or like whatever it may be. Like it only would have led to potentially bad things, and I don't really see any good things coming out of it at all. So I mitigated the damage by staying calm, and it's I say a lot of things are like, this is a poker analogy, but in this case it really is. And like that's because in poker you have to remain calm sometimes. You have bad things happen to you in poker tournaments, right? So let me explain it to you, because if you're not a poker player, you might not really understand the logistics and the journey of a poker tournament. So in poker tournaments, oftentimes you might be doing really well. You have a lot of chips, and then something unfortunate happens. Bad luck, not anything. Just like getting your flight canceled, you didn't do anything wrong. You have bad luck in a tournament, and you lose some of your chips, right? So now you're struggling. That was me on Friday. I was feeling great, and I had some bad stuff happen, and then I was struggling, right? And in a poker tournament, when bad things happen, oftentimes people go on tilt, which I think most people these days know what tilt is, because it's used in video games. But for a while, it was only used in poker. I've never heard it used in video games until like maybe 10 years ago. I don't know, or however many. But for a while, it was only used in poker. The term originated in poker, I believe. So yeah, you go on tilt and you make mistakes. So the key is to remain calm and try to rework yourself. So like you can rebuild your stack in a poker tournament, for example. Or in this case, like I made the most out of the situation. Like I thought logically, okay, my flight's canceled. What's my best option? My best option, I'm too tired to drive, effectively now. Even if I did drive, I would get in like at 7 a.m. or something. So my sleep schedule would be borked and it would be a horrible experience either way. So my best play is to go get some sleep and come back, head out in the morning, drive, and I'll still be there in time. Everything will be good. And so I made the most of the situation where I could have just freaked out, or like I said, went and yelled at someone, or just said, "Oh, fuck it, I'm not coming. Mom and Dad, sucks to be you. I'm angry," or whatever. Like there was like a million options that wouldn't have mitigated the damage, that would have made the situation worse. But instead, you calm down and you think about the situation. You find a rational outcome. Now, is it perfect? No, but you make the most of the situation, and mitigating damage is an important part of like anything. Obviously, I said poker, but like Sometimes at your freaking job, you might make a mistake and you might have to mitigate the damage. Like, oh, I screwed up on this customer order, or like I did something wrong. Whatever it may be, whatever your job is. There's like a million different things like I could say, but like, yeah, you make a mistake and you need to mitigate the damage. Like um, you don't just curl up and die. You have to, figure out how you can fix it. And sometimes you can fix it completely. Like if there was another flight that I could have left on, perhaps it could have been, completely fixed. But there wasn't that option, so I took the next best, not the next best, but like I did take the next best, like a situation that an option that would get me closest to the best outcome that I could have. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't perfect, but it was good, and you'll take it. Sometimes you might have something go wrong somewhere and you have to mitigate the damage. And I think that's a really important skill. And the best way to be able to do that, like I said, is by remaining calm, because you don't make good decisions when you get heated. And I learned that, I've been playing poker now. It's been since I started playing seriously almost 20 years. And so I've learned a thing or two. Trust me, when I was a 16-year-old playing illegally online at the time, I definitely was not that calm. I would get angry and I would do stupid things and I would make more mistakes and I would cause me to lose more. A lot of bad stuff, right? But thankfully, over time, I have learned to be a lot more zen, not just in poker, but in life. And I encourage you to try it because, yeah, inconveniences will always happen. You can do everything right. And I do believe, like, in the long run, right, like, just like in poker, your luck evens out. And it might seem like you have a lot of bad shit happening to you in a certain amount of time. Like, oh, this has been a bad year, a bad 5 years. I'm just really unlucky. But if you remain calm, you mitigate the damage in those unlucky situations. I truly believe luck does, for the most part, even out, and that you'll have a chance to bounce back. Now, you can make things worse by when those bad, unlucky things happen. You don't mitigate the damage, and then the damage gets worse, and then it's like, well, it's unfortunate, but you kind of could have mitigated the damage, but you didn't, and so things got worse. So you have to mitigate that. You have to lose. Again, I'm sorry, I got to use another poker analogy. In poker, it's like you want to lose the least when you're going to lose, and you want to win the most when you win. So in those bad situations in life, try to lose the least on a bad thing, which I think I did lose. I lost the minimum that I could with how shitty that situation went on Friday, where, I could have just canceled the trip or whatever it may be. I lost the minimum in terms of what I lost. I lost, 12 hours on my trip. It sucked, but you know what? Could have been worse. And then you want to win the most. When you have something good and fortunate happen for you, you want to win as much as possible. And so, when a good fortune comes your way, try to make the most of it and get the most out of it you can. And that's really all you can do is mitigate where you can and benefit where you can and hope for the best in life, because you know what? There's a lot of twists and turns, and you got to be ready for them. You got to be ready for them. And you're never truly ready for them, but that's all you can do is, again, make the most out of it. The good and the bad situations, you're going to have a lot of both of them in your life. So, you know what? That's how it be. That's how it be. It sucks, right? It would be nice if we just never had any bad situations and everything just always worked out. That'd be freaking cool, right? I wish that was the case. I would have been at my freaking parents' house on Friday night. Like, my brother even took off Friday night. Like, we were going to be, like, he was waiting for me. He was telling me all the stuff we were going to do on Friday. And then all of it went to hell. My dad stayed up until, like, 1 a.m. And he usually goes to bed really early. Like, everyone stayed up and all this stuff. And in the end, Jax had to go to daycare an extra day early when he could have left on Saturday. So it cost me money, cost me time, cost everyone convenience. A lot of bad things. But you know what? We made the most of the situation. So mitigate damage where you can and stay calm. And I think those are two very, very important traits that anyone can benefit from. Not just me, not just you, but anyone. So I guess the last thing to talk about is just kind of the state of the podcast, the state of the stream. I mean, everything that's been going on. We've been. It is the difficult part of the year as far as unfortunately, a lot of people can't catch the stream in this part of the year, especially people in Southeast Asia. It's a tough time of the year with the time zones being what they are from March to um, what month will it be? October. It's tough for those people to catch the stream. So it's always kind of a sad part of the year. A lot of cool people. We just don't really get to see them much during this part of the year. So that's always tough. But I mean, I think everything's been going well. I've really been enjoying the horror games, which we haven't done one for a little bit. I wonder what's next. I don't even know if Happy's Humble Burger Barn Farm even counts as a freaking horror game. You know what I mean? The horrifying part of that game was working retail. But I think things are going well. Spyro's been really freaking fun, and we've got Hollow Knight coming up pretty soon. I haven't decided if I'm going to do Spyro 3 first and then Hollow Knight, or maybe we'll just crank out Spyro 3. I haven't fully decided, but we'll see. We've got Hollow Knight, presumably a Kingdom Hearts game later in the year. I say a Kingdom Hearts game like it's not Chain of Memories. It is Chain of Memories. So we'll have Chain of Memories later this year. I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do for the YouTube series. The YouTube series, by the way, has been going really, really well. One Shot has been super fun. I think I uploaded episode number... I don't know what episode number I uploaded today. 8? Might have been 8. So yeah, it's been really fun. I'm burning through that game. I'm really am playing it a lot because it's one of those games that you want to play a lot, and it's very easy to digest. Omori, I really needed breaks sometimes because that game, it can be heavy. One Shot has been, I mean, I know it's like an emotional-ish game, but it's not like Omori. For me anyway, it's very much a chill game in comparison to Omori. It feels very zen, and I love adventure games. So it's been very adventure-y and very just honestly a joy. Like I said, I've been burning through it just because it's been so freaking enjoyable to play, and a lot like Undertale for those of you who have played it. A lot of multiple endings. You got to play multiple times. You gotta burn through those different endings. And yeah, it's been a joy. I'm definitely I'm on the home stretch. I'm gonna be done with it pretty soon, and we got some more stuff on the horizon, and I'm excited for you guys to see what that is because yeah, I've got a lot of good things planned for the YouTube series too. Honestly, like almost even more than the stream. I feel like because like yeah, I've really been enjoying. The YouTube it's an opportunity for me to just kind of vibe in my own time and play games that I don't have a lot of time to play games for the most part, like on my own. So it's enjoyable to just be able to relax and play a game and kind of chat with you guys, but not to the extent where I'm reading chat. Just kind of focus on the game, relax, give a kind of gentler, not as Raichu loudmouth commentary. And I've really been enjoying that. So yeah, I've got a lot on the horizon, and we've been uploading a video every single day without fail, and that's going to continue for I don't know, forever. Maybe forever. I don't know. Will that end someday? I mean, I guess, but the way I'm going with the volume of videos I'm actually doing, it might be a while before we actually end that. So I don't know. It'd be cool. I think I've always really respected people. Like there's certain YouTubers who have uploaded a daily video like every day for years, and I think it'd be cool for me to do that. It is viable, and it's really viable. I mean, I feel like it is anyway. I just on certain days, when I have time, I crank out a bunch, and then I have uploads for a while. So, knock on wood, that's going to continue. A lot of cool things, fun things planned for the YouTube series. And now onto the podcast. Obviously, this is episode 20. Thank you so much for helping me get to such an insane and cool milestone. We've got plenty more. Don't you worry. I will admit, with everyone behind, and to be honest with you, I'll be honest. I'll hit you with the honesty. I think most people have stopped listening regularly. Um, I have considered going to a once a month schedule. I don't think it's going to happen right now, but maybe later this year we'll move to a once a month schedule. I think maybe it just makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I can yap, but if there's no, if you don't have questions, then maybe it's optimal to move to a once a month, and then you can ask questions for that, once a month podcast. I don't know, but it's something else I'm chewing on and contemplating, and there's always a lot to plan around. So when will that happen? I don't know. Will it happen? Probably. But I guess we just gotta see where life takes us, where things take us. We don't know, but the podcast will go on. So if you're not there, it's a nice outlet to just kind of talk and chat, and it's nice to put out some longer content. I guess besides that, the bonus streams have been going well. We've done a bonus stream every month, and we will have one in April as well, which April is a busier month, so it'll probably be the last week of April, to be honest with you. But it's going down, so don't you worry. Don't you worry, it's happening. It's happening. We are going to have that April bonus stream, and I see no reason that I won't be able to keep up with my continued dedication to doing the one bonus stream. And so I got to be pretty proud of myself. Like, our two goals were upload a YouTube video every day and have one bonus stream a month in addition to all our normal stuff. And we've knocked it out of the park so far. So I hope that we will continue, and I believe we will, because I believe in myself. So I guess that's all really the housekeeping stuff we have. This will show up on, the 23rd of March? And then the next episode will be on the April, the one after my birthday, the 6th. Did I get the day right? I think so. April the 6th, yep. And we'll just keep on rocking. So I guess that's about it for tonight, my friends. I don't really have anything else for you. So I want to thank you, as always, so much for listening. I do really, 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 really appreciate it. And I hope that you will keep coming back. I really appreciate it. Take care. See you soon.